ModLab 50. ModLab 50.
Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to this special video. If I sound really excited, it's because we've done this before, but it is also a special video, guys. I'm here joined by my buddy Tim.
Or the real Don Knotts.
Sorry about saying Tim, that was
okay.
your line.
I was like, well, hold on. No.
You were a little taken off by that. Regardless, today we are joined
By Tim.
by Tim again. There we go, we fixed that up real good. But anyway, today we are discussing the best video game console of all time.
And this is entirely opinion-based, you know, I mean, feel free to comment if you disagree.
In general, you should probably just comment with your opinion now. That way we don't sway your opinion. That way this isn't a war between the two of us in the comment section. Granted, I mean, that would imply people are going to comment on this video, so...
Or watch for more than 10 minutes.
Or watch more than 2 minutes. But regardless. Okay, do you want to go first, Tim?
Yeah, I'll go first. Okay.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, the best console I feel would be... I'm going to have to go new gen with the PlayStation 4. Now, I say this because I'm not all about the nostalgia of games. I mean, yeah, I do love going back and playing old games, but only some of them. It's like few and far between for old games that I can sit down and actually thoroughly enjoy. Like, okay, and I don't even go that far back. Like, I feel like the furthest back I'm willing to go is the GameCube for games as far as old consoles that I do enjoy.
What?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Okay, so the new consoles, the games, they have much more potential. They're larger. They look better. Granted,
That's
I feel
debatable.
like they're running out of some ideas.
Oh,
but,
God, yeah. They've been running out of ideas for like a decade now.
Yeah, but the ones that are original and unique are just so engaging and so good. Infamous Second Son, fantastic. It's like a new spin on the Infamous series. They don't use the same character.
But we loved Cole.
Cole McGrath was a good character.
You know, he was a bad guy.
No, it depends on how you play. But the new guy, he's kind of relatable
What happened
to modern
Zeke?
society. That's that now.
Is that a spoiler?
That is a
'Cause
big
I
spoiler.
didn't play the second Infamous.
You'll find out about Zeke.
Oh, but I liked Zeke. He was great.
Zeke
Sitting
was
up
alright.
in the building, you know, telling us what to do.
How to handle yourself.
Right, he was
But,
great. But regardless,
so,
we're
so this
tangenting
Infamous
off.
Second Son. Let's see, Rocket League. If you've watched my channel or watched through
The
some
real
of his
Don Knotts.
videos, then you'll definitely hear us talk about Rocket League, and you'll see that all I have on my channel right now is Rocket League videos. But it's got the both of us playing, so you know,
Check out his channel.
check it out. Grand Theft Auto 5 for the PS4, beautiful.
Here's my beef with what you're saying, okay? Because I get where you're coming from, okay? But all of these games, I don't know about Infamous. I think Infamous is a PS4 exclusive, right?
Yeah.
But Rocket League is available, I know, on the computer.
Yes, that's
It's
actually
available on the
what I usually
Xbox,
play.
isn't it? I think it is.
I
It might not
I
be.
don't think so.
It's aside
Or
from the point
It
here.
might be, but you can't play cross between Xbox and PlayStation or Xbox and PC, whereas PC and PlayStation, you can do the cross compatibility. So,
But regardless, okay? GTA 5 is available on 5 different consoles.
that is true.
So,
But, okay, if you've played GTA 5 on the PlayStation 3, you'll notice that there are some issues, like rendering problems where, like, you can be driving as fast as possible, but, like, it renders stuff in slower. So,
but that's aside from my point here. My point is that newer consoles have this big old problem where almost nothing is exclusive.
yeah, that's true.
So you
But
say
that's
PS4,
not-
but
I don't-
Xbox One could just as easily fit all of your criteria.
Yeah, but I don't see that as a problem. I mean, I guess I'm more of a PlayStation fan.
Oh, well, how
but
you gonna play your Halo?
I do love me some Halo.
Oh, you ain't gonna
not
play yourself some
Halo
Halo.
4, not Halo 5.
Regardless, I don't know any other Microsoft
Not Halo
exclusives.
ODST. But like all the other ones are pretty good. Or Halo Wars. No, I don't deal with that. But I'm okay with there being like no exclusives anymore. Like Infamous Second Son isn't exclusive. Yeah, I can see that because Infamous wasn't exclusive.
Yeah.
But you know, why limit your potential for the games that you can sell to one console? Like, okay, you could be missing out on like a $60 sale for another console that because you only wanted to make it for PlayStation, you know?
But here's what I'm saying, okay? You can't make a firm argument saying PS4 is better when, God, like 80% of the good games on the PS4 are available on the Xbox One.
But what about the other 20%?
Well, I mean, using that logic, you're only counting 20% of the games.
Well, okay, but you know.
So now your list is infamous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm just saying.
it's about the consoles and not their like, and less about the game availability. But that still counts. You know?
It does. And regardless, the PS4 is oddly broken.
Is it?
Yes, it
There's
is.
many problems.
Because, for one, you figure your console is almost always connected to the internet.
That is true.
For no reason.
Well, I mean, you play the PC, you literally are connected to the internet.
You don't have to
24/7.
be.
That's true.
You don't have to be with your PS4 either, but you figure the moment you hook it up to the internet, 24/7 it's connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Downloading updates, destroying your internet. If you have limited internet, which most people do, you're running out of internet now.
If you have limited internet, you really should upgrade because updates are just so massive now and they're so frequent. They shouldn't be. You should have a game fixed and ready before you put it out.
Like they did in the old days.
But, you know, I mean, they're just, everyone's in a rush now to put out these games that they haven't fully finished and they're like, whatever, we'll just do an update and fix it later. Everyone will be fine with it. They just want to play now. But that's not entirely true.
But, and I'm going to make another argument, okay? What happened to split-screen multiplayer?
It's still available,
Not
but
really.
on select games, and I know what you mean. I love split-screen multiplayer.
It is like one of the only things that generally makes me prefer Nintendo products.
Because, I mean, okay, say you got somebody over and you're like, oh man, I really want to play this game, and they're like, I do too, but you don't want to pass off the controller, you know.
Because who wants to pass the controller off?
Exactly. Rocket League, split screen co-op,
Rocket League.
and online split screen,
But
perfect.
aside from Rocket League and maybe Call of Duty, the only other game I can think of off the top of my head that has split screen is Rock Band.
Halo.
But Halo is on the Xbox.
That's true. And they are releasing a game soon. I don't remember what it's called, but I know it's got split screen compatibility, full co-op story. You're like tied to a dragon. You can play with the dragon. It attacks for you, and you attack it. I don't remember what it is, but you know, still, like they're gonna release games that have it,
obviously, but there's
it's
not
so
anywhere
few
near
now.
as and that's something that drives me nuts about modern games because it's kind of like, you know, what can you do in this situation? You gotta let just let one person play, or you play a different game.
That's true.
And it just, if you look at the trend of games in general, a lot of games have gotten worse recently. So you're arguing that, you know, games are better now.
Well,
you know,
they've had so long to come up with so many ideas that it's kind of like new movies.
mean,
they're running out of ideas.
if you look at the Legend of Zelda series, it's going down. You look at
Well,
the
that's because
Mortal
they're
Kombat
trying to do the same
series.
thing, but like
The Mortal Kombat series went down and then kind of like spiked up a little bit.
and then
but
started going back down again.
a lot of franchises aren't able to continue holding up at that level.
But that's when you have to stop trying to redo the same thing and sit down and go, okay, let's create a new concept. Like, yes, you can take from old ideas that you've had, but you need to change it up. You can't be like, let's put out another Mortal Kombat because people love Mortal Kombat. There's got to be a certain point where you stop doing that.
Yeah, but my point is, when I mention this, is that, you know, you're saying newer games are better.
Mhm.
But realistically,
Well, the
they're
newer
not
consoles.
always.
The newer consoles.
The
Not
newer
necessarily
consoles,
the newer games.
They are basically like supercomputers.
Yes, that's
And-
true. And
But
I love the potential behind them, which isn't being fully utilized because no one wants to be innovative and try and take that step to create new games that no one's done before because they're like, the old stuff worked, let's stick with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And it's starting to be broke.
It is not.
What? Okay. Well,
Just wanted to see his reaction.
So that's my take. You know, I prefer the newer consoles.
Right.
What about you?
Okay, so I'm gonna go completely opposite direction, and I'm not gonna go with the Atari or anything.
Nobody likes the Atari.
Even if
you guys Pong. What do you
even
want?
even if you did though, okay, realistically, okay, we're not that old to know what it was like back in the time.
I mean, yeah, we may have played it like once or twice, but we didn't play it when it was new and innovative.
Exactly.
You know?
And I do agree that there is a certain point that if you go past that point, like going back in time, there's a certain point for everybody where the games kind of just become too broken to actually play. Where, like, if you look at, you know, like, there was a big, you know, text-based game craze back in, like, the 80s and 90s.
I've never been big on text-based games. It's just not my thing.
So my point of bringing that up is that I'm going to put my best game console as the N64.
And why would you pick the N64?
Because, for one, it was innovative. I did look it up.
True.
Control sticks were first. Well, they were introduced in an old Atari, but they were first popularized into modern gaming with the N64. They beat the PlayStation by about a year, give or take. So the N64 brought in the control stick, even though it had an innovative controller design in itself.
Yeah.
You figure it was like the first game console in 3D. I don't know if the PlayStation was released first, so I could be wrong. And isn't there a Sega console that was?
I think so.
Regardless, it didn't look like the other consoles at the time. Which, I mean, if I put up a footage of, you know, a PlayStation 4 game next to an Xbox One game, most people are going to look and they're going to go, well, geez, that could be Xbox 360. Realistically, there hasn't been that much of an improvement. The N64 was vastly better than the SNES.
That's true.
Vastly.
And, you know, the incorporation of control sticks changed gaming as we know it. I mean, where would we be without it? You know, still using the D-pad, but maybe they'll put like a circle of buttons so that way you can do multiple directions.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
there
right?
was a console like that, wasn't
Was there
there? It was
really?
like some Sega console.
Oh, God. That's just terrible.
It
like,
is.
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. But you figure that's like the basis for modern gaming right there.
And they liked it so much, they're like, okay, well now you can move and aim with different control sticks. It's great.
I also want to point out the list of games, okay? And I did actually do a little bit of research.
It does
this
have
time.
a ton of original games, but
When you
it's
look,
at the point where they still had all these new open ideas that they could go with that no one's done before.
but you look at lists, okay? Like top 10 best games of all time. And odds are, maybe an N64 game does not win the list, but there
it's
will be
got-
at least 2 games on each list.
And one of them is usually Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
I've heard a lot of people talk about Majora's Mask as one of the best games of all time.
I mean,
GoldenEye
I've heard that.
007 is usually up there.
I
Super
wouldn't-
Mario 64.
I wouldn't say it's one of the best games of all time. Yeah, it was a great shooting game, but
It was
you know,
like the original shooting game.
yeah.
It popularized, as we were mentioning earlier, split screen.
And I
So-
did play it a lot when I was younger, but like, you know, it didn't stand out to me as much as like, let's say, Duke Nukem.
But, you know, I'm not arguing, you know, GoldenEye versus
Right,
Duke Nukem.
right.
I'm just saying that when people make lists, you know, generally N64 ranks really high up on the list. Now, you could counter that argument by saying, well, the PS4 hasn't been out that long. But I would counter that argument with, well, geez, it doesn't really matter when 80% of the games on your console are released for the Xbox One, too. So, you kind of can't really make that argument.
But at that point, it's about the games and less about the consoles.
Yes, but we discussed games for a long time for the PS4. The N64 had way better games. Not necessarily way better, that's a bad way to phrase it. But
More unique, more iconic.
more unique, more iconic. Games that have more of a legacy in general.
That's true.
I mean,
Mario Kart.
if the PS4 did not release... Okay, I know it's hard to do this now, because, you know, it just released recently, comparatively. But if it didn't release, everything would be just the same in the gaming world. There'd be no changes, really.
Yeah.
Okay, if the N64 didn't release, if Nintendo was like, let's just
who
roll
knows
with
where
the
we'd be.
SNES, you know, who knows if the analog stick would have been popularized. It might have been. I don't
Like
know.
somebody would have been like, hey, maybe we get rid of the stupid D-pad and use something else, and we can use the D-pad for like selection for items.
Inventories,
Yeah.
yes. But regardless, I mean, you would wonder how much would have changed. I mean, in general, we would have lost all these classic games. A lot of franchises, I don't think they would have managed to make it that long.
No, probably not.
A lot of, Nintendo would have fallen off without the N64. Realistically, it was the perfect console at the perfect time. Now, by saying all that, though, the PlayStation was the actual perfect console at the perfect time. And, I know I'm saying N64 because the N64 was better. It was. But the PlayStation outsold the N64.
Yeah.
The PlayStation, pushed more in the mainstream. But I don't consider it the best console because I know I'm going to get hate for this, but there aren't that many good games on it. Feel free to,
Fairly debatable.
It is very debatable.
If you make a list, you'll probably have, like...
One PlayStation 1 game on the list. One. And that'll be Final Fantasy VII, because it's always up there.
I mean, I'd say it's more than one. I'd have to go back and look at all the games that were on the PlayStation, but, I'm sure you could put a couple on there.
Yeah. So my argument still stands. There's like one really, really iconic PlayStation 1 game. Maybe you'd say like a Tomb Raider game. I don't know what Tomb Raider game came out on the PlayStation.
There were a couple of them.
But
they
aside
were good.
from those two, there's like nothing else that good on the PlayStation. And I'm not saying the PlayStation's a bad console. It is the most essential console of all time. But in terms of the best console, it would be the N64.
Yeah.
It introduced far too much. I want to say it introduced the Rumble. I don't know if the PlayStation had it.
Didn't they have the Rumble pack that
Yes.
you had to put in?
Yes.
PlayStation 1 controllers, I feel like when it was launched, didn't have the Rumble, but then as time went on, they released controllers with Rumble.
Yeah,
you
just
had
like
to
how
buy
they
them
released
separate.
the ones with the analog sticks.
Yeah, and I
So-
could be wrong.
I
but,
don't know, maybe, PlayStation did it first, but I'm just saying, it added so much.
Yeah.
You can't really argue that the PS4 has added that much. I love the little pad in the middle of the controller on the PS4.
Yeah, it's pretty
That is
nice.
great. I like typing with it.
And the 6-axis controls, if done properly, are actually a really nice gimmick in a game.
But to be fair, the 3DS did that.
Did they?
Yes. Because the 3DS had the gyroscope.
But the 3DS isn't a console.
It's not a console. But I mean, if we were going to argue, we could make that same argument there.
That's true.
But you have anything else to add in here?
No, I feel like I made my points. Oh, and I did miss another iconic, unique game that's exclusive for PlayStation.
Okay.
The Uncharted series. And Uncharted 4, I feel, is their best release so far. But, that doesn't make the console any much better. It just... It helps add a little bit to
does.
its playability.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that there really aren't that many exclusives.
Yeah.
What is it, The Last of Us?
That was good. The Last of Us was good.
And that is a PlayStation exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see that on a lot of top 10 best game lists. I don't know why. I never played it.
It's a really unique spin on zombies. Like it's more like an infection, not like a fungal infection, and not like you'd have to
Didn't
play
they
it
do
to
that in
understand.
the original Resident Evil? Or what? They weren't zombies. Technically, they were infected.
But it's infected with like a bug. So I guess kinda, but
We're just splitting hairs here. It is original.
Mhm.
And from what I've heard about the ending of the game, where you're okay, we're not spoiling it.
I
But
haven't seen the ending. I have seen the beginning, and the first. I've seen the beginning like halfway through the game, but the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game are intense and gripping. They make you want to play the game just to find out what happens.
yeah. So, but I do think, in closing, okay, the thing that makes the best console of all time is you're gonna have a line of legacy that you're gonna look at. Yeah, well, the line of legacy will be like that, right? Then you're gonna have a line where you think technology is gone, which I guess like that. It makes a good old-fashioned X. Everybody loves X's, okay? XXX, right, everybody?
But
Too bad we don't have a third X.
Right.
But regardless, okay, obviously legacy is going to go down because as things are going along, it's more recent, less legacy to actually put
more
on.
about the technology, less about the legacy.
Exactly. So what you're going to get a lot of times is the basis of the question is, where do you draw the line? Where do they intersect for you? And I think they intersect around the N64, where, you know, once you get to the GameCube, there aren't as many, you know, really classic games. I'm not saying
true.
they aren't good.
There
Far
are
from
plenty
saying
of
that.
good games, but they're not classic.
Exactly. But it also added so much to technology in the gaming world that it warrants that spot where, you know, the technology is shooting up, obviously. You know, then you go to the GameCube, the graphics are so much better. You go to the Wii and...
Well, well, let's...
Yeah.
The Wii was alright. It was alright.
But that's where I draw the line. So that's why I come up with N64.
And you know, I come up with the PlayStation 4 because I'm more about the technology and less about the legacy. Because you know, legacy is fantastic. Legacy can sell and sell and sell, and it can create really unique, engaging games. But you gotta cut the legacy at a certain point. It can't continue forever. And I'm kind of surprised Mario has made it as long as it did. Sorry. I mean,
snap.
look, you gotta think Mario probably hit its peak at what, like Super Mario Sunshine, like, or maybe Super Mario Galaxy.
I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about Super Mario Galaxy. I mean, I've never played it.
I haven't either.
But
I mean, I've seen people play it. If you watch the Game Grumps, I personally don't. I don't think they're all that entertaining.
You are just slamming the internet.
Sorry, but you know, I mean, it looks fun, and you can do 2-player too. Like someone can play with the controller, and you get the Wiimote, and you get to point and shoot your little stars at stuff with the second player. It looks like a good way to get multiple people playing a game that's meant for one person.
Yeah, but as you're mentioning Super Mario Brothers, I don't know why we're doing this. I guess we won a lot of dislikes on this video.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
I would make the argument that Mario probably should have died out right after Super Mario 64.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Okay, now you're just messing with
No,
people.
I'm not. Super Mario Sunshine was a game entirely based around a gimmick that wasn't done at all in the Super Mario Brothers franchise. You figure all of the original games were, you know, unique, but they all were basically the same thing. Super Mario Sunshine doesn't even seem like a Super Mario Brothers game.
That's true.
Granted, you know, Super Mario Brothers 2 isn't a Super Mario Brothers game, so you can kind of like, you know, get your claws out and scratch at me through the screen. But regardless, you know, after Super Mario 64, they aren't really Mario games anymore. They're gimmick games.
True.
Which,
But you know, it's still about the legacy. Like you put those Super Mario Brothers on there, and boom, you practically got a hit.
yeah, I had a picture one time. It was like all the games Mario has appeared in, and the list was like ridiculously long. It was like, you know, they had it in real small font, and it was just like 6 lines all the way down. There was probably like a good 20 games in each line at least.
And some of them aren't even just Mario games.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll put them in there. People will love it. And you know what?
Exactly.
Normally they do.
We do. We do. But anyway, I think we're pretty much done here.
I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, and we actually finished the video this time, Tim.
Last time it died on us.
But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Comment with your opinions.
And subscribe.
If you haven't already commented with your opinions, subscribe because we're going to be doing this more often, hopefully. Maybe not, but who knows.
And check out my channel. Like I said, there's not a whole lot on there. Rocket League. But, you know, I could always use the subscribers, I suppose.
Maybe if he gets like 10 subscribers, he'll actually start uploading serious videos.
Yeah.
So if you've enjoyed
we'll say
Tim's
that.
input into this conversation, subscribe to his channel. Maybe I'll even try to figure out how to do one of those things where, you know, if you touch his face, it's a link. Maybe. Maybe. I probably won't, so. You know, don't tap his face too much. You'll hurt him. But anyway, thank you for watching. Peace out, home skillets.
Peace.